Consider the fundamental paradox that defines Perseus, born from an act of deception and violation, yet destined to become history's most celebrated symbol of virtue and heroic agency. This is not merely a narrative of combat against monsters. This is a case study in how an individual, regardless of origin circumstances, can transcend predetermined limitations through strategic thinking and moral determination. The mythology of Perseus presents a fascinating psychological and sociological framework for understanding ancient Greek concepts of heroism, legitimacy, and the nature of immortality itself. Perseus emerged during the Bronze Age period, approximately 1300 to 1200 BCE, according to classical chronologists, though his historical authenticity remains contested among scholars. What remains undeniable is his cultural significance. He represents a transitional figure between the purely mythological and potentially quasi-historical aspects of Greek tradition. His story appears in Homer, Hesiod, Ovid, and countless Renaissance artistic interpretations. This analysis examines Perseus not as a simple warrior-hero narrative, but as a complex psychological and strategic exemplar, whose methods revolutionized heroic methodology. Unlike Heracles, who relied primarily on superhuman strength, or Theseus, who demonstrated political cunning, Perseus represents the triumph of intelligence-based problem-solving combined with divine strategic partnerships. His approach to the Medusa confrontation specifically demonstrates principles of indirect engagement that military strategists would recognize immediately. The fundamental constraint that catalyzes Perseus's existence represents an interesting examination of ancient security logic. King Acrisius received an oracle stating his grandson would kill him. His response, complete paternal imprisonment of his daughter Danae, reflects a misunderstanding of a classical logical principle, containing potential rather than addressing agency. This Acrisian logic, the assumption that physical containment can prevent metaphysically determined outcomes, fails fundamentally because it addresses symptoms rather than causes. The oracle did not state that physical isolation could prevent the prophecy's fulfillment. Yet Acrisius operated under precisely that assumption. Zeus's intervention represents an inversion of the imprisonment logic. While Acrisius attempted to prevent the prophecy through physical containment, Zeus transcended this containment through transformation. Becoming a golden rain, Chrysos hoiathos in Greek sources, represents not merely seduction, but a fundamental violation of the boundaries Acrisius established. The transformation bypassed every physical security measure, literally liquefying through architectural barriers. From this union emerged Perseus, technically illegitimate but divinely fathered, representing a biological contradiction, simultaneously a threat to his grandfather's survival and an agent of cosmic will. When Acrisius learned of Perseus's birth, his response escalated dramatically. Instead of maintaining containment, he committed infanticide and mariticide combined, placing both mother and child in a sealed wooden chest and casting them into open ocean. This act, while appearing to solve the prophecy problem through elimination, inadvertently accelerated its fulfillment. Had Acrisius maintained containment and prevented Perseus from leaving Argos entirely, the prophecy might never have manifested. Instead, Acrisius's escalation forced the exact sequence of events necessary for the prophecy's ultimate completion. The Medusa confrontation represents perhaps the most important case study in indirect strategic engagement in classical mythology. Medusa, as described in sources, presented an impossible threat. Any direct visual engagement resulted in instantaneous petrification. Conventional combat methodology, physical strength, Weapons proficiency, defensive positioning became entirely irrelevant against an opponent whose existence itself constituted a weapon. Perseus's approach subverted conventional heroic engagement entirely. Rather than attempting to overcome Medusa through superior physical capability, he approached the problem as one of information theory. The threat originated from direct observation. Therefore, the solution was to eliminate direct observation while maintaining effective capability. The reflective shield provided by Athena functioned as both tactical instrument and philosophical statement. Victory achieved through intelligence and guidance, rather than physical dominance. By viewing Medusa's reflection rather than Medusa directly, Perseus transformed an asymmetric engagement into a manageable problem. The mortal limitation that would have proven fatal, the petrification effect, became irrelevant through methodological restructuring. The adamantine sickle, harpe, represented another innovation, not merely a weapon, but a precision instrument capable of severing divine or semi-divine flesh. Its employment required not strength, but positioning and timing, understanding exactly when to apply force at maximum vulnerability. What emerges from the Medusa protocol is fundamental. The greatest warrior victory in mythology occurred not through superior physical capability, but through superior strategic planning. Perseus essentially hacked the apparent rules of engagement.
The Cetus encounter represented a different category of challenge entirely. Unlike Medusa, Cetus presented conventional threat parameters, a large, aggressive creature demanding standard combat engagement. Yet Perseus's response continued his pattern of indirect methodology. When confronting Cetus, he did not engage in protracted physical combat. He employed the Medusa head, essentially transforming his previous victory into a weapon platform for subsequent encounters. But the Cetus engagement introduced a complication absent from the Medusa confrontation: Andromeda. The introduction of romantic attachment fundamentally altered Perseus's motivation structure and subsequent decision-making frameworks. From a purely logical standpoint, Perseus had successfully completed his initial quest. He possessed the Medusa head. His return to Seriphos would result in Polidectes' petrification and resolution of his mother's situation. There was no logical imperative requiring the Cetus engagement. Yet Perseus committed to the engagement anyway, motivated by aesthetic attraction and romantic impulse, emotions typically characterized as compromising rational judgment. The fact that his romantic commitment led to positive outcomes, and his marriage to Andromeda produced 8 offspring who contributed substantially to Greek dynastic history, suggests an important principle. Romantic attachment and strategic capability are not mutually exclusive. They can operate synchronously. Upon return to Seriphos, Perseus concluded the narrative arc initiated by Polydectes' original challenge. Demonstrating the Medusa head resulted in instantaneous petrification of all male observers, including Polydectes himself. The mechanism was both justice and mercy, permanent, absolute solution to the persistent threat posed by predatory authority. Perseus subsequently founded Mycenae and governed Tiryns, transitioning from hero-adventurer to administrator-ruler. This phase, often overlooked in mythological narratives focused on combat exploits, represents equally important evaluation: the hero's capacity to exercise authority responsibly after demonstrating capability to overcome physical threats. Upon his death, the sources vary on precise circumstances, but agree on the outcome. Zeus elevated Perseus to divine status. Rather than permanent mortality, Perseus achieved immortalization through celestial placement. The constellation Perseus, visible in the northern celestial hemisphere, contains Algol, Beta Perseus, a variable star whose periodic dimming was interpreted by medieval and ancient observers as the demon Medusa, still blinking within Perseus's eternal grasp. The Perseid meteor shower, occurring annually in August, further solidifies Perseus's cosmic presence. Modern astronomical analysis attributes these meteors to debris from Comet Swift-Tuttle, literally fragments of ancient cosmic material associated with the constellation bearing this demigod's name. Perseus's significance in mythology exceeds his individual narrative through the template he established for future heroic archetypes. Unlike Heracles, who typically relied on physical capability and brute strength, or Achilles, who embodied warrior excellence through training and martial skill, Perseus represented the victory of intellect, strategic planning, and leveraging external resources optimally. This represents a fundamental shift in heroic philosophy, the recognition that heroism could manifest through intelligence and planning rather than purely through physical dominance or inherited strength. Subsequent mythological traditions, particularly in later literature and theater, built extensively upon this Persean template. Perseus remains historically significant not because of superhuman strength or unparalleled combat skill, but because his methodology demonstrated that transcending apparent limitations requires both individual capability and collaborative resource utilization. His apotheosis, elevation from mortal status to eternal cosmic presence, represents recognition that such strategic excellence merits eternal remembrance. The constellation Perseus continues its eternal rotation through the northern celestial hemisphere, a permanent monument to a demigod who proved that true heroism transcends physical capability to encompass wisdom, strategic thinking, and the capacity to recognize when indirect engagement surpasses direct confrontation.